Good morning, Periscope. This is Pastor Joy Fields from Century Church in South Plainfield, New Jersey. And I just wanted to share some thoughts with you on today, particularly for ministers, those who are young, who are in ministry, and those who are young in ministry, new to ministry. This word is not going to be for those who do not know how to submit to authority. This word is not going to be for those who aren't doing anything in the church or following through with what God has put on your heart. This word is not for those who are bent on moving just according to your own emotion. This is not for you. But this particular word is for ministers who are young, ministers who are new to ministry, who really need some encouragement when God begins to speak to you about doing something different. There are times when you will be praying and God will speak to your heart about ministry that he wants to do through you. And the ministry may be something that your church needs, or it may just be something that God specifically wants you to do, which may move you outside of the realm of your church. And many of us, especially when we are young in ministry or if we are young to ministry, we are very focused on following the proper protocols that have been set up by the church, the following through with speaking with the people that you're supposed to speak to, about ministry and things of that nature. And that's good, and we ought to do that. But I want to speak to some people who have experienced God speaking to you, giving you direction, pressing you, pushing you forward to move into a particular direction in ministry. And you have sat with top leadership and you have not received that positive response that you were looking for. Maybe you went to your pastor, your leader, you presented what God has put on your heart, and they didn't seem to give you a response that was as passionate as what you have given to them. Maybe you have presented what God has put in your heart, and perhaps that ministry does not fall within the realm of what top leadership or what the church is focused on doing. And so there are different reasons why you may not be able to do all of your ministry within the realm of your own church. But I want to tell you today that it is okay. So I want to encourage somebody to really think about whose approval do you prefer? Because if God is really pushing you and pressing you and drawing you into another place of ministry, he's doing that for a reason. And there will be different times when we will not get the kind of support that we are expecting from our pastors, from our leaders. And that can come for various reasons. It could be, number one, maybe they're just not passionate about what you're passionate about. They don't have a heart for that particular ministry. They don't feel drawn or called to minister to those particular people. That is just a reality. Perhaps the church is going in a particular direction, and that is the flow that they want to stay in, and that ministry that you're presenting does not fall into the realm of what the church is on a whole is looking to do. That's a reality. The other reality is that there are times some pastors are praying for you, and some pastors honestly are not. Some pastors can see, spiritually what's going on and be in agreement with what God is doing. And then there are other pastors who are really not tapped in spiritually to what God is doing within your life. So those are just some realities that we have to realize, that our pastors and leaders do not know all or see all. Even when it comes to God, God moving you in a particular direction, he or she may not see it, may not understand it, may not embrace it. And I want you to know that. But whose approval do you prefer? If your top leadership does not fully support, what you're doing, if they do not fully embrace it and give you everything that you think that you need in order to go forth, will you go with God? And I want to encourage you today to go with God. Do what God has called you to do. Yes, follow protocol. Yes, speak to your leadership. Let them know what God is leading you to do. Do everything that is right. But at the end of the day, go with God. You do not want to be the minister who dried up on the vine because you did nothing in ministry, because you were looking for approval from the people who cannot give you approval. If God has called you to something, he will provide people who see it, people who embrace the vision, people who will support it, people who will lead you to the types of resources that you need in order to fulfill what God has called you to do. If God has called you to it, He will help you. Whose approval do you prefer? If you don't receive that kind of response that you're looking for from your own leadership at your church, will you still go with God? At the end of the day, God is not going to go back to your leader and chastise him or her because you decided to be disobedient to God. Do not be the minister who gets stuck. Don't be the minister who just dries up and the flame goes out because nobody pushed you, nobody encouraged you to do what God has called you to do. Please, if you go with God, you will find passion that will fuel you, that will drive you, and God will send to you those people who need the ministry that He has called you to. If you are young in ministry, if you are new to ministry, it is important for you to find some grounding, for you to be clear about what you have heard, to pray, to fast, and at the end of the day, if nobody else will go with you, choose to go with God. So I pray that this encourages you today. And again, I am not speaking to those who don't submit to authority. I'm not speaking to those who don't want to be accountable to anybody. I'm not speaking to those who just want to run around and do whatever you want to do when you want to do it. But I am talking about those who truly do have a heart for God, who really feel and believe that God is calling you to move out and to do certain things. So I pray that this word will encourage you, will empower you, and help you to go with God. Have a great day.